All right, y'all. This group of horses here, I'm going to call Derby Troublemakers. Why? Because I think they could get out there on the front and create a pace that's a bit too fast. They could also create trouble for these other horses as they're fading off the lead if they end up going too fast, or if they're still hanging around in the final stretch. They could definitely create traffic problems for those horses trying to close. So let's get into these here. First one here is the number 12, East Avenue. Now, I think this horse is probably going to get the lead. Manny Franco is going to be riding him, trained by Brendan Walsh. Horse is out of Medaglia d'Oro. Mother's father is Ghost Sapper. So lots of good 1.25 mile breeding from this horse. Probably going to be the leader, I think. He likes to get out there 46-second opening halves. He's done multiple times in his career. So I'm looking to see that again here from East Avenue. Question is, will he be pushed by these other horses to go even faster and down to like a 45 or even a 44, what they call suicide fractions, to where you're just not going to win the race if you're going that fast? It's possible because there's a lot of other talented horses that are going to be up there with him. Now, this horse had an interesting career. Was looking like a world beater in the beginning. Broke his maiden at Ellis Park, came back, got a good win in the Breeders' Cup Futurity. Then he fell off, stumbled in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, beaten by Citizen Bull. Came back in the Risen Star, blown away by Magnitude in that one. So, after a layoff, don't know if he really gave it his all because Magnitude had a strong race there, but ended up injured, so we're not seeing him in the Derby. Then he came and followed it up with a second-place run in the Bluegrass Stakes. Now, he broke his maiden with Luan Machado. They switched to Tyler Gaffleone for 3 races, and they brought Machado back for the Bluegrass Stakes. Machado gave him a good ride in that one. Probably went a bit too fast, ended up losing the race by a nose. Oddly enough, Machado's been sued for losing races by a nose consistently. That's kind of a weird thing. We'll get into that on his video. But they've switched from Machado now to Manny Franco. So Manny Franco, I'm not doubting he will be aggressive, but he doesn't necessarily rate horses with the best of those jockeys that rate well. So what we're going to be looking at here is a possibility where Manny Franco takes him too fast, or Manny Franco doesn't take him fast enough and creates a situation to where the horse is kind of choked up and fades early, which could create trouble for him fading into other horses in the stretch. So while East Avenue, decent horse, I got him at a 100 speed. Don't think that's really fast enough to be able to win the race unless he can somehow steal it and get out ahead of everybody else and not get caught. But that's not really Manny Franco's thing. I think he could be one of those horses that really makes this race because I think he's going to probably set the pace. Now, why do I say that? We're going to move on to the number 1, Citizen Bull. A lot of people probably think Citizen Bull will be the leader. 12-1 in the morning odds. Bob Baffert horse. We know he likes to send his horses up to the lead. Martin Garcia's riding him. He will definitely ride horses to the lead. Horses out of Into Mischief. Mother's father's distorted humor. So you got good breeding to be able to run up front and then carry it through to a victory, just like Authentic, another half-brother of his who won the Derby. Now, here's where I think his problems come into play. He's not that fast either. I hate to tell everyone. I know people like him. Never got a speed figure over 100 in my estimation. So I'm rating him at a 100 speed. Now, another world beater. Wins his maiden, 3rd in the Del Mar Futurity. But he comes back, wins the American Pharoah, wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and wins the Robert B. Lewis. Takes a little bit of a layoff after that. Comes back in the Santa Anita Derby 4th. Now, that was a weird race. Off a bit of a layoff. It really looked like he didn't get a true ride. They tried to go to the lead in that one. If you check my commentary on that race, I stick by what I said. That Santa Anita Derby was an ugly race. Journalism won it. I don't think we saw the best of Citizen Bull. I don't think we saw the best of Barnes. Baeza ran a great race in that. But I think his Garcia's instructions from Baffert was to only take this horse to the lead and only to win the race if the horse really wants it. If the horse gives him any kind of fight, then to just ease him up and not push him too hard because he really wants to save him for the Derby. Baffert likes to keep his eye on the prize, and even though he would like to have won his, ninth Santa Anita, like 11th probably if you count those Yak teens, I don't think we really saw the best of Citizen Bull. However, I don't think the best of Citizen Bull is going to be enough to win the Kentucky Derby. I think he's going to go for the lead. He only gets the lead at 47 seconds. Believe it or not, all the time he's had the lead, the fastest he's ever done is a 47 opening half. That's not that fast. That's not enough room to put distance behind these other Derby horses for sure. So, I don't think he's going to be on the lead. And if he does fight to get the lead, I think it's not going to be to his advantage. Maybe it will. Maybe that's what he's going to need. But the horse hasn't gone that fast ever before. I don't expect him to be successful at doing it this time coming up. Next horse that I think is a troublemaker, 25-1 here. American Promise. Horse sired by Justify. Derby winner, Triple Crown winner. Mother's father is Tappet, one of the hottest sires over the past decade. I have him as rated as one of the highest bred as far as the breeding. I give him a 6 as far as the breeding goes, which that's pretty high on my rating scale. These other horses are mostly 5s, some 4s and 3s. But American Promise I have as a 6. Trainer D. Wayne Lukas, no stranger to the winner's circle in these Triple Crown races. Multiple Derby wins. One of his Derby winners, Charismatic, really reminds me of this horse. Or this horse reminds me of Charismatic. Heavily raced. This horse has run 9 races. Only 2 wins. 1 second, 1 third. But his last win was in this Virginia Derby. Now, the horse has been moved around, raced at Churchill, raced at Saratoga, raced at Gulfstream, what is this? Oaklawn, and then Colonial in the Virginia Downs. Now, he's been ridden by Christian Torres, Luis Saez, Manny Franco, and Joe Rosario. So when horses don't have consistency, is it what barn they're in, what track they're running on, who the jockey is? It can be hard for them to find their form. Now, just maybe by luck, they threw him in this Virginia Derby to try to avoid, some of the competition, duck a little of the tougher horses, and move in here to the Virginia Derby to get a win. Now, before that, he had run 5th in the Risen Star, 7th in the Southwest Stakes. So, and then before that, he was had a win at Gulfstream, beating Publisher, by the way, in his maiden. He's seen a lot of these other horses. He faced Publisher before at Churchill. Early on in his career, he was beaten by Rendered Judgment at Churchill early in his career. Beaten by Sandman in the Southwest, Antis Tactic, beaten by Chunk of Gold in the Risen Star. So here he is in the Virginia Derby. Now, he beat Rendered Judgment in that, but the thing is that he set the track record. Flying around that track, he wasn't the leader, but he did end up taking the lead probably about 3/4 of the way through, 45-2 in the opening half. 108! They did a 108 opening 3/4. 108. Finishing time, 1 1/8. 146 2/5. That's good enough to get a 118 speed figure in my speed ratings. I'm not like Timeform, where I just hand out big numbers for whatever the reason. 118. Can he duplicate that? Probably not. Rarely do horses that run a record time come out and bust out another record, much like Secretariat or something. Now, I haven't gotten to the problem with this horse yet. And you're probably wondering, well, who's riding him? Who's riding him? That is my problem with this horse, is it's Nick Juarez. Now, based on my handicapping rules, if a jockey wins a race on a horse he's good. He's good for that horse. Nick Juarez is one of my least favorite jockeys in the history of horse racing. Several times I've thought Nick Juarez had the winning horse, the fastest horse, the most talented horse, and Nick Juarez gave the horse a terrible ride. This time he's riding for Dwayne Lukas. Is Nick Juarez going to listen to the old man? I'm sure he is. He's never ridden in the Derby before. He got on this American Promise horse. He listened to the old man, broke a track record. He's heading to the Kentucky Derby. Maybe he's going to keep this rhythm up. But he's going to make trouble. I think he's really going to make trouble. He's probably not going to be the leader, but he's probably going to be near the lead. The lead he had a 47-second opening half. But as I just said, this Virginia Derby, he was right on that 45-2. He's probably going to be right with whoever's on the lead in this one. Juarez, nothing to lose, not going to be holding anything back, I don't think. If the pace is too fast, he's liable to push it and make it even faster. Just tell the truth. Juarez is not going to rate this horse. If East Avenue wants it, and Juarez feels like his horse wants it, and East Avenue wants it more, Juarez is going to roll with him. That could cause big trouble for this race and could take the fractions down to a 44-second range. That's not what I want to see, but it would be good for a lot of people's horse. It would be good for Sandman. It would be good for journalism. It would most likely be good for sovereignty. I don't want to see a reckless pace in this Derby, but a horse like American Promise, he could do it. I have to put something on him to win, most likely. He's the fastest horse I have rated. I know a lot of people go, oh, well, the Virginia, that day of Colonial was a fast day. The track was fast that day. The track wasn't fast that day. The horses were fast that day. I hate it when people say that whenever there's a stakes day, that the track was fast that day. The horses are faster during stakes days, so thus the times are going to be faster. Especially when you're going to run at these small tracks that never have fast horses at them. Of course you're going to take down a bunch of track records. Check the Lone Star from when they ran the Breeders' Cup at Lone Star. They pretty much took down every track record that they ran a race for. So don't give me that crap that the track was fast that day. This horse put up that time. Can the horse put that time up again? Like I said, I don't know. But does that mean the horse, you could take 2 seconds off that time and this horse will still be competitive in this race? However, you push that pace a little bit faster, the horse is going to run last. So a huge question mark and a huge troublemaker. But I will find room for a win bet for American Promise. I promise you that. Because the odds are going to be big on this one. And with a horse that's showing that kind of speed, it'd be stupid not to hedge that in some kind of way in my betting pool. It would just be dumb for me to leave that out. But Dwayne Lukas, yeah, okay. Even though it's Nick Juarez, I haven't bet on Nick Juarez in like 20 years. And I'm going to have to make a small exception. I'm not going all in on Nick Juarez, no way. But I'm going to have to throw a little something on Dwayne Lukas and American Promise. Now, to the next troublemaker I got here, Neoequos just drew into the race because Built isn't going to be in it. I think that was the reason he was part of he was an also enter. But anyway, he's going to end up in it anyway as well. I think it was because of Built not running. Safi Joseph, the trainer, looking for his first Derby win. Neolithic is the sire of this horse. Normally Neolithic is not a horse that I would consider giving any touts to for this breeding. However, Neolithic is sired by Harlan's Holiday. Harlan's Holiday is the sire of Into Mischief. So even though a lot of people still have question marks by Into Mischief, he sired a Derby winner and he grandsired a Derby winner. So Harlan's Holiday is going to get a tick mark in my book. Grandsire, or Damsire rather, is Birdstone for this horse. So that technically, I guess, makes him a Derby qualifier. Not the strongest breeding, but Birdstone, that Belmont win, shows the distance. Harlan's Holiday with the Into Mischief parts shows more of a speed side. Going to be some balance. The horse is also going to be running up front. I don't think he's going to take the lead. He's taking the lead at a 47 and a 45 opening half, though. He did take one at a 44-second opening half. That was a short race when he was younger. But he's going to be out there. Now, Flavien Prat's going to be riding him. Flavien Prat's not a lax jockey. He not over-aggressive, I would say, but he's on the aggressive side. He's going to try to get his horse home either way. He's going to try to put his horse in a good position, which I like that about jockeys, even though I personally don't like him because he has a fake Kentucky Derby win. And as I understand it, he was the one that launched the complaint on Maximum Security, taking it away from Luis Saez and giving it to him aboard Country House. So I don't think he deserves his Derby win. I think he's going to have to come out and earn a real one for it to count. But he has improved much over the years, especially since that Derby race. It's like he's out to prove that he does deserve to be a Kentucky Derby winner. He got the Eclipse Award last year, 22% win percentage. So Flavien Prat's aboard this Neoequos horse here. Going to be dangerous. He's going to be forwardly placed, which means he's going to be in position to win. Every horse is forwardly placed. It's in position to win just based on their positioning. Now, the problem with them is they run too fast. More often than not, they run too fast. However, Prat, I hate to say it, he is good at rating horses. He is good at getting horses in a good position and riding close to the front, but not too close to hurt the horse's chances. So I think that could also be trouble for horses that are trying to close. I don't think the horse is fast enough. I got him at a 102. I had to double check that, but yeah, I got him at a 102, so that means, yeah, I got him faster than a lot of other horses. Faster than East Avenue, faster than Citizen Bull. Just below Journalism and Sovereignty. I think he could be trouble. He could hit the board. He'd definitely be some trouble on some tickets, I think, for people. When you look at his resume as of late, last out was third in the Florida Derby behind Tappan Street, who tapped out yesterday, and Sovereignty, who was second without his jockey. Got his jockey back for the Kentucky Derby. So this horse was third in the Florida Derby. Before that, third in the Fountain of Youth. Had a win in allowance at Gulfstream before that one. A couple other races at Gulfstream. Stakes races, by the way. A 7 furlong and a 6 furlong. Ran second in both. Dropped him down to an allowance to break his maiden. And then they bring him back for the Fountain of Youth in the Florida Derby, 2 third places. So the horse is no stranger to hitting the board. No stranger to these tough races against these tough horses either. After having run in the Fountain of Youth and running the Florida Derby. Flavien Prat aboard. He could be trouble. He could be trouble. That's why I call him Troublemakers. Flavien Prat. Hey, if you brush up against his horse lightly, he's going to call foul. So, if you like one of these other horses, you want to hope that your jockey has the wherewithal to stay away from him, or just stay out of his line of sight. So these horses I got is definitely Troublesome, East Avenue, Citizen Bull, American Promise, and Neoequos, and I think most likely East Avenue will get the lead, but it's very likely one of the other ones will have the lead, if not East Avenue. So check out my other videos. I've got videos on my Derby challengers, if you want to get info on Rodriguez, Tappan Street, who tapped out. He's in there, though. Burnham Square, or Tis Tactic. And I also got a video on Derby favorites for you to check out with Journalism, Sandman, Sovereignty, and Luxor Cafe. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.